I'm going to discuss a worksheet on matter waves. So let's discuss the worksheet over here. So here the topic is matter waves, and the first thing is matter waves is actually the wave-like behavior of well-established particles, and it has been well established even for an electron and even for an iodine atom, that well-established particles, they behave in the same way as a wave. As a wave means they are not localized at some specific point in space, rather they are distributed in the entire space-time curve. So this concept was introduced by Sir de Broglie, and he was awarded Nobel Prize for this concept of matter waves and its experimental verification for electron through the experimental experiments of Davison and Germer. So we are going to discuss something about this. So the first question is that the wavelength of the de Broglie wave, you just visualize, suppose this is a particle and it is moving with a certain momentum p. Then we associate a localized wave, you see, a localized wave associated with this particle, and this is called the matter wave, which is a localized wave. Localized means it's just present near this particle, in the vicinity of this particle. So that is the concept of matter waves. So here its de Broglie wavelength is given by h upon p, where p is the momentum of the body. It was given by Sir de Broglie himself. Second point is lambda can also be written as h divided by momentum, can be written as mass into speed in terms of magnitude. So it is also equals to h by mv. Third thing is momentum can also be written as root 2 km, where k is the kinetic energy of the body. So this is the third form for the de Broglie wavelength. Fourth is if we accelerate a charge starting from rest through difference of v, then the kinetic energy gained by the particle will be q into v. So the de Broglie wavelength can also be written as h divided by root 2 q into v into m. Now this expression can be simplified, and after calculations there are certain standard results. For example, if we calculate this expression for an electron, it simplifies to 12.27 by root v angstrom, where v is the accelerating voltage, and this has got very simple application. Just like if we say that an electron gets accelerated through, let's say, 10,000 volt or 10 is to power 4 volt, what will be its de Broglie wavelength? So using this expression, we can say that it will be 12.27 by root V, that is 10 is to power 4. So that will be 12.27 by 100 angstrom. So that will be approximately 0.1 angstrom, and it lies in the X-ray spectrum. So in terms of energy frequency, it has equivalent energy as that of X-ray. So this is how things can be used. Then we have lambda for proton. So for proton, the calculation yields to 0.287 by root V angstrom. For neutron, since it is 0, so its wavelength will tend to infinity. For alpha particle, it is 0.101 by root V angstrom. So there are certain direct shortcuts to solve questions. They have been asked many times in NEET, JEE Main. So direct questions, they can be solved easily in 10 to 15 seconds. Now coming to a more complex analysis of de Broglie wavelength. De Broglie wavelength is a function of velocity. So we can write it as h by m mod of v. So mod v corresponds to the speed. So in this way we can relate it to the velocity itself. Now there is an important concept. One question was asked in NEET exam based on velocity and de Broglie wavelength. It's graphical analysis. Questions in JEE Advanced have also been asked based on the analysis of velocity as a function of time. So it's an important concept over here. Next is some graphical analysis. So if you draw the graph between lambda and mass, keeping the speed as constant, so it will vary inversely. So the graph is going to be a rectangular hyperbola. Then we have three different cases. So if the graphs are like this, then we can see that for a corresponding for a given mass, we can say that lambda is proportional to 1 by v. So we can say that corresponding to larger lambda we have smaller speed. So if I draw the graph like this, so I can see that lambda corresponding to graph 1, it will lie over here. So lambda 1 will be greater than lambda 2 will be greater than lambda 3. So v1 will be less than v2 less than v3. This is the analysis that we can make. Now there is another graph is mass is constant. So we can say that lambda is proportional to 1 by v. So again the graph is gonna be a rectangular hyperbola as shown over here. Here also if we draw the graph lambda versus v for three different cases. So from the analysis we can see that lambda 1 is greater than lambda 2 is greater than lambda 3. That means m1 is less than m2 is less than m3. So these are the possible applications, possible graphs. There is another question that lambda versus momentum graph. So since lambda is proportional to 1 by v, so the graph is going to be a rectangular hyperbola. However, if you do the graph between lambda and 1 by p, so take 1 by p as x, so the graph is going to be a straight line. Now let's some questions for JEE Advanced, which are typical for JEE Advanced Physics. So here is a particle is moving in space such that velocity is given by cos t I cap plus sin t j cap plus t k cap. Mass of the particle is 2 kg over here. So the first question is we need to find speed. So speed is the magnitude of velocity, which can be written as root over cos square t plus sin square t plus t square. Now cos square t plus sin square t is 1. So that gives us speed as root over 1 plus t square. So it's velocity. Next question is velocity at t is equal to pi by 2 second. So from here we can we just put the value t as pi by 2. So we see velocity is cos pi by 2 I plus sin by 2 j plus pi by 2 k cap. Cos pi by 2 is 0, sin pi by 2 is 1. So I have velocity as j cap plus pi by 2 k cap. And next is de Broglie wavelength. So it is h by m. By substituting the values, we have de Broglie wavelength as 2 by 1 plus root t square. Now if you try to analyze the graphs, then we can see that as t is equals to 0, lambda corresponds to h by 2. So this coordinate here will correspond to h by 2. And as t tends to infinity, lambda will correspond to 0. So it will be a rectangular shape like rectangular hyperbola, we can say. And its variation will be like this. However, if you draw the graph between momentum and time, so the equation will be p is equals to 2 root 1 plus a square, and it corresponds to the equation of an hyperbola. Its curvature will be like this, and at t is equal to 0 its value will be 2, and as t tends to infinity it will also tend to infinity, so that will be a hyperbolic variation. Then if you draw the graph between 1 by p and t, so 1 by p from here will be 1 by 2 root 1 plus t square. So that will also vary in a rectangular hyperbolic way. Shape will be like that, and we have this corresponding graph. So you have seen that we have covered I think 8 and 6 14 and 6 20 questions in a I think video of about 9-minute video. The purpose behind making this video is to make your mind brain system optimized for problem solving skills. You see, the thing is that when you solve a particular problem, there is involvement of multiple parts of the brain, multiple lobes of the brain, the parietal lobe, the temporal lobe, the occipital lobe, and there is a certain neural pattern that you develop. And that neural pattern, the process, the algorithm that you use to solve a particular question is of significance. So the basic idea behind developing these worksheets is to help you develop your algorithms so you can quickly map up with critical questions. So these are just an optimization tool for you. You can cross check your preparation, and if you feel like anxiety, depression, low feelings, inability to concentrate while solving questions, so then you need to work on your mind brain system. You need to work on algorithms of your mind brain system so that they become strong and complex. There is no other way, because nowadays competition is at its peak, and you can survive only if you have truly strong and complex mind brain system. So the entire point behind developing these worksheets is to help young minds work in a structured way so that they can analyze their preparation and in what way they are going. Because initially when we start solving a problem, we start thinking, and that form a thinking pattern, and thinking pattern are sometimes uncontrolled. You will become trapped in less of illusions, less of thoughts. You will think like this, you will think like that. It's very necessary to keep a track of what is going on inside you. Is that productive? Is that going to yield me some result in life? So there is a role of, you can say, the teachers or the seniors who have been through this path before, because they know that what you are feeling is because your mind brain system starts resonating at different frequencies, and at different frequencies you will feel different things. And you started to be a good problem solver, but if you cannot manage your emotions, if you cannot control your curiosity beyond a certain limit, then instead of working for getting the answers, you will be trapped in overthinking, thinking it. So it's like infinite loops of there. So it's very necessary to be realistic, to be goal oriented, and to switch back to originality, switch back to the task that for what we are working. So the videos are just an optimization tool, so that you can have an idea of that is your thinking process optimized, or has it become overthinking or underthinking. Because it's the quantized thing, the quantized frequency which works. The entire universe, when observed at the microscopic scale, is based on quantum frequencies. It's not less than or not greater, the exact frequencies. For example, you take example of any atom. To move electron from a certain state to another state, there are certain frequencies needed. Electrons will not correspond to any frequency. It corresponds to only certain specific frequencies. And this certainty, this specification, you learn when you actually put yourself into that environment. So I have spent a considerable time in doing R&D, compiling books, mentoring students of different, you can say that from class 9 to class 12. So while I was preparing for JEE, I gave 2007 JEE main. It used to be a triple E at that time, and my rank in Uttarakhand was 219, and I was able to get Government Engineering College, Pantnagar, Uttarakhand, from which I did my engineering. And after that, I switched back to Kota. I have worked with the reputed coaching institutes of Kota. I have compiled 215 books so far. I think more than 9900 videos are available on YouTube, on my official YouTube channel. Many other thousands of videos like HCV solution, Erodov solution, question bank. I have done phenomenal work in education sector. You can search it online. You can Google my name on this. You can even search on YouTube my name, Acharya Vishvendra. And apart from that, coming to your X, which was called Twitter, I think I have more than 12.3k tweets related to my working. On Instagram, there are, I think, more than 3600 reels. So I have done a phenomenal work in social media. And this is all available in the public domain, because nowadays authenticity is a big challenge, because you cannot find what is truth and what is false. So truth is something which is observed silently, and it's silent observation over a elongated period of time. Because you are what you do, not what you say. Saying may be false, but doing cannot be false. If you have done something, that's a solid proof of your authenticity. So I have done a phenomenal work on that, and on the basis of all these things, I'm saying it to you. So I have videos on, I think, almost every topic, every individual topic of physics. I don't think I have left any topic from 6 chapters, 28 chapters, 6 branches, 28 chapters, 350 topics, about 3500 subtopics, and a total of about 9500 facts, concepts, and tricks, which are in course syllabus for you can say that JEE NEET itself. So you can search any topic with my name. There are my video lectures available on that. There are video books available on that. There are worksheets available on them. There are topic cards available on them. So I have done phenomenal work on this. And on the basis of all this, I'm saying it to you. So just implement it, use the worksheets, and let me know that whether it helps you or not. And if there is certain improvement, just let us know, so that you can optimize your time and energy, and can cross check your process, that are you learning correctly or not. It's There is nothing bad in learning through different platforms, cross checking what you are learning, because sticking to a certain type of patterns, you gets bored out of that. And in JNE, what I have analyzed is it's a neutral pattern. I mean, pattern can be anything. You should use as much permutation and combination as possible, because it develops your mind brain system. When you think through different angles, when you think using images, using sound, using imagination, using words, then that forms a complex mind brain system, and it increases your capacity to solve a complex problem within very few time. So just give it a try and let me know if how I can help you out. If you have any doubt, you can ask in the comment section. Thank you and have a nice day.